everyone, welcome back to the Stitches and Scribbles channel. My name is Erin, and today we're going to be making a water bottle purse. This is going to be part of a pattern that is available for sale on my Etsy, and that should already be available by the time you are seeing this video. The way that I designed this pattern, there are actually 4 different variations of this design. I'll be showing one of them to you in this video tutorial today. So, for our materials, you're going to need a 4.5 millimeter crochet hook, or a crochet hook that works with the size yarn that you are. You just may have to adjust some of your stitches and row counts if you choose to use a different hook size. I also have a pair of scissors ready for when I need them, and a tapestry needle for weaving in ends. For my yarn today, I'm going to be using Lily Sugar and Cream. This is the original in super size, and it's in the color Beach Glass. I seem to use between a half a skein and slightly over a half a skein, depending on which design I'm currently working on. We're going to start by pulling out some yarn. Why is it that always when I do tutorials I get the worst yarn barf? There we go. You're going to start by finding the end of your yarn. Mine's pretty well buried in there. Keep pulling out. There we go. Alright. And we're going to start with a slip knot, just like any crochet design. We're going to start by working the base of this water bottle holder, which is going to be worked in the round, making a circle with double crochets. I'm going to start by chaining 4. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then slip stitch into the first chain that you did so that you have this little ring. Now we're going to chain 3, and that counts as our first double crochet. We need to do 19 more double crochets into this ring. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Every 5 stitches or so, I kind of scooch it over. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, scoot those stitches, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. Alright, so now we have our 20 total stitches, including that chain 3. I'm going to insert my hook into the last stitch of that chain 3 and slip stitch to join in the round. Now you can pull the tail of your yarn a little bit just to make sure that it's in there securely. Now we're going to start our second row, which is going to have some increases. So we're going to chain 3, and that counts as our first double crochet. We're going to alternate between a regular double crochet and double crochet increases. So since this was our first double crochet, now we need to work an increase. That just means I'm going to do 2 double crochets in the same stitch. So there was 1, and now I'm going to work the next one right into that same stitch as before. There's 2. So I now have 3 double crochets worked over 2 stitches. Now I'm going to do a regular double crochet and then an increase. And then a regular double crochet and then an increase. keep repeating that pattern until you get to the end of the row. Once you've reached the end of the row, you should have ended with an increase, so a pair of double crochets in the same stitch. Then you're going to insert into the top of your chain 3 and just slip stitch to join the round. We're going to do one more round for the base of this water bottle holder. This time we're going to start with a chain 3 again that counts as our first double crochet, and then work 1 plain double crochet into the next stitch. Now we're going to work an increase, so 2 double crochets into the same stitch. So then your pattern for the rest of the row is 2 regular double crochets followed by an increase. Again, that's 1 regular crochet, 2 regular double crochets, and then an increased double crochet. You're going to continue that in pattern all the way around. Once you've reached the end of the round, it should look like this, and again you should have ended with an increased stitch. Then you're just going to slip stitch to join, just like we've done in the previous 2 rounds. So in my actual pattern, I sized this water bottle holder to fit a 16 to 20 ounce water bottle, just because that seems to be the size that most people carry around with them. I personally use a 64 ounce water bottle when I'm working from home, but I'm not going to be carrying that around with me because it would hurt my shoulder to carry that with a shoulder bag. So if you need extra rows for your size water bottle that you're making, you could continue this increase pattern into the next row. So the next one you would do 3 double crochets and then an increase, and then 4 double crochets and then an increase in the following row. You also could have stopped after row 2 if you have a really narrow water bottle. It's not going to really matter for this pattern because after this point we're not working any increases. So you can stop whenever you want with the base, and this is also where if you have a different yarn that you wanted to use that's maybe thinner or thicker, you could adjust the number of the rows in your base to fit your yarn and the water bottle that you're sizing this for. We're going to go ahead and start working up the sides of our water bottle bag. So I'm going to start with a chain 3 to be my first double crochet, like always. And then for this row, I'm going to be doing double crochets in the back loop only. So if you look at your crochet stitches, they make those little V shapes or those heart shapes. The side of the V closest to you is the front loop. The side farthest away from you is the back loop. So we're only going to work into the back loops for just this one row. This helps create a cleaner edge between the base of the water bottle and the sides of the water bottle bag. So we're going to double crochet into the back loop. I'll show you again, double crochet into the back loop. And you're going to keep double crocheting into the back loop all the way around. Now, for this tutorial, this version of the water bottle bag pattern that I'm showing you is the easiest version that's included in the pattern itself. If you're interested in making more variations, there are going to be different stitch patterns included in the written pattern that can be purchased on my Etsy shop. However, since this water bottle base conveniently is both a multiple of 2 stitches and a multiple of 5 stitches, because there should be 40 by the end, and it would still be multiplied by 2 or 5 even if you did extra or fewer rows to the base. You can kind of do any stitch you want that is a multiple of 2 or a multiple of 5. It just has to be one that you can figure out how to work in the round. So in this case, I'm just going to be doing the plain old double crochet version for this tutorial, but feel free to be creative and use this how you see fit. That's one of the wonderful things about crochet, is that you can choose how you want to customize patterns to fit your style, your needs, whatever you happen to feel about your creations. I would also say that this is a great project to use up scrap yarn, especially if you work a lot in cotton. You could definitely make every row of this a different color, and it would be beautiful, and it would be a great way to do some stash busting. I recommend cotton for this particular pattern just because of its durability and because it doesn't stretch as much as other yarns, which is going to make it a little bit more secure for carrying a potentially heavy water bottle, but feel free to use whatever yarn best fits for you. Almost to the end of the row here. Just got a couple stitches left. And once we get to the end of the row, just like in previous rows, we're going to slip stitch into that chain 3 to join in the round. So this is what I mean when I say that the back loops only for one row creates that cleaner edge between the base and the sides of the water bottle bag. Now we're just going to continue with double crochet in the round until we're ready for the next step. So I'm going to chain 3 and then double crochet into the next stitch, and in every stitch after that. So I'm going to go off camera for a bit. Feel free to do as many rows as you want for your double crochet. It should be slightly shorter than the height of the water bottle you're trying to fit at the end. We are going to do one row at the end that's going to be the track for our drawstring. So just keep that in mind when you're choosing the height, if you want the top of your water bottle to poke out of the drawstring, or if you want the drawstring to kind of be tightened around the mouth of the water bottle, depending on what you're using. But I will meet you back when I am done double crocheting in the round to build up the sides of my bag. Alright, I have now completed 11 rounds of double crochet, so it's time to make the drawstring track for this bag. I'm going to start by chaining 3. This counts as a half double crochet and a chain 1, so a little different than previous rows. Then I'm going to skip the next stitch and half double crochet in the stitch after, so that I get that gap there. Then I'm going to chain 1, skip 1 stitch, and half double crochet in the next stitch. So I'm making this alternating pattern of stitches and spaces, and I'm going to do that all the way around. You could totally do this in double crochets if you prefer that look. You could do it in single crochets if you prefer that. I like half double crochets because they make the stitches just tall enough that it's easy to thread the drawstring through with your hands if you need to, but it's also not so loose that it's gonna fall out or bunch weird or anything like that. So I tend to do half double crochets for my drawstring tracks, both on these bags and on other projects as well. I'm just going to keep going all the way around. I actually think that I'm going to bring one of these bags with me tonight because I'm going to a neighborhood event and it's bring your own beverage. So this seems like a perfect opportunity to test them out in the wild. I haven't decided which one I'm going to take yet though. You'll get to see all of the designs at the end. Almost at the end of the row. And you should end with a chain 1 and then slip stitch into the second of those 3 chains. And then you can cut your yarn, pull that through, and put that off to the side to weave in the ends. The next part we're going to create is the strap. And we do the strap in a set of 4 rows, but we have to start by chaining the length of the strap. So I figured out that 151 chains works for me. You will need an odd number because when we start crocheting the strap itself after the chain row, you're going to skip the first chain stitch. So you do need an odd row or an odd number. That's why I do 151 stitches, but you can do whatever length works for you. I'm going to go ahead and chain my 151 and then meet you back here for the next step. All right, I have completed my 151 chains, so I'm ready for the next step. I'm going to twist my chain to start the second row, and I'm going to slip stitch in the second chain from my hook. Then continue slip stitching all the way across. This is going to take a while, so I'll just kind of explain the next step. The next row we're going to be doing another back loops only row, but since there kind of isn't a back loop on the chain and I'm just going through one side of it anyway, you can just do the first row of slip stitches normally. I'm going to go ahead and complete this row and then come back to show you the next one. Alright, once you have slip stitched all the way to the end of the row, we can start row 2. So rows 2 through 4 of the strap are going to be the same, and the strap is only 4 rows. You're going to chain 1 to turn. I already turned my work, so chain 1, and this is just going to kind of give you an easier edge to work with. Then we're going to insert into the back loop and slip stitch. And again into the back loop and slip stitch. So for rows 2, 3, and 4, you're starting the row with a chain 1 and then slip stitching into the back loop all the way across for all 4 rows. And this is going to give you a nice sturdy strap that doesn't have a ton of stretch to it, so it won't get weighed down by the water bottle. It's also going to have this like faux knit ribbing look to it. So I will see you at the end of the 4 rows for your strap and then show you the next step. Alright, now that I have completed crocheting the strap, I went ahead and threaded my needle with the yarn that was already attached. And we're going to attach it to our bag. So I fold the bag in half so that the kind of seam is on one of the fold lines. And then I place the strap on the row directly under the track for the drawstring. And I like to attach it on this kind of horizontal section of the double crochets just because then it's kind of like sewn in between 2 rows of stitches, which adds a little bit to the stability. The reason why I do it a row down from the drawstring track instead of at the top is so that if you pull the drawstring tight, the straps are still on the sides of the bag instead of like being gathered together at the top, and this just kind of helps it lay a little bit better. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side, weave in the ends, and I'll show you what it looks like at the end. Alright, I had to nix the cute background in favor of getting the whole bag in frame, but this is what the finished water bottle bag looks like. So to finish off, I just sewed the other strap on so that it would be attached on both sides. And then I did a chain 90 just by itself to be the drawstring and wove it back and forth through that drawstring track that we made. So again, this is the only version that I'm going to show in this tutorial, but if you buy the pattern from my Etsy, there are 3 more designs that you will get. So I will show those off now. The first one is a mesh stitch pattern. So this can be if you have a cute color water bottle that you want to kind of show through the bag. The next one is a lemon peel stitch design. This gives kind of a more intricate look, and this one definitely takes longer than the double crochet versions. It's also a little bit sturdier. And then the last one will be this cluster stitch design, which is probably the most intricate of the 4, but I really like how it looks, and it also is sturdier and a little bit thicker of a design, in case that was something that mattered to you. But again, the pattern will be available on my Etsy store. Actually, it should already be up now by the time you're seeing this video, and I will link it in the description below as well so that you can check it out and support my channel, my business, all the things. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you're interested in following me on other forms of social media, including my Etsy store, that information will be in the description box below. It would really help me out if you left a like, a comment on this video, and also hit the subscribe button just to support my channel and see all of the crafty content that I come out with in the future. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye everyone!